Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Prime and Load. My name is Lee Gugino, and we're joined, as we are always, with Doctors Andrew Bamford and Alex Burns. And today is going to be a short one. We're going to go over the results of our top commander bracket round two. And just like last time, our doctors have not seen the results yet. And so all of their reactions are live-ish. So which matchups are you particularly looking forward to, or do you have some that stand out to you?
We need to see if Von Down continues his giant killing streak. I can't remember who he's up against, but if he's taken out Washington, so anything's possible.
It's true. Where do we got him? Oh, he's against Eugene of Savoy this time.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that'll be tough.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
What about you, Alex? Are there any that you're interested in seeing?
I don't know. Can Hyder Ali cut his way all the way through to the final? Maybe. We'll see. I don't know. I guess I am mostly interested in doing some detective work to figure out how many times Ryan Diamond voted in this bracket. But that's okay. We'll push on and see what we can't do. And if Frederick makes it past this round, I think I'll be pleased.
Awesome. All right. So we'll just dive right into it. So for our first matchup, we have Jeffrey Amherst and Hyder Ali. And the winner with 57% of the vote is Hyder Ali.
Wow. All right. I like that.
Right.
Yeah. Quite right.
I don't see Amherst carving out his own kingdom anywhere. I mean,
Oof.
That's true. By the same token, Hyder Ali can't write cool letters that say things like "all Canada belongs to the king." But a just outcome. Well done, voters. Congrats.
Awesome. Our next one, Andrew, you're gonna get your answered. We have Leopold von Daun versus Eugene of Savoy.
Yeah.
And this is not a close match. The winner with 79% of the vote is Eugene.
Yeah, well, is anyone shocked?
No.
Seriously, a guy who shaped an entire generation of European warfare versus a guy who managed to not lose to Frederick the Great a couple times. I feel like the choice is pretty clear.
Yeah, it would have been interesting if Washington had gone through. Washington against Eugene would have been an interesting... Interesting one to think over.
For the sake of the pride of American listeners, I won't comment on which way I would go in that case.
All right. For our next one, this next one's a bit closer. We've got Francis de Luxembourg versus Charles the 12th.
Okay.
And I know, Alex, you were upset that Charles got through last time.
I was. Yeah. I'm afraid I'm going to be more upset that he's gotten through again. What's the answer?
I'm going for Luxembourg.
Okay.
I'm afraid, Alex, you're disappointed. Charles the 12th won with 56% of the vote.
Yeah. Yep. Be young and attractive and moderately courageous and get shot in the head by one of your subordinates and you get to the top of the generals bracket. Apparently, no. In all seriousness, obviously Charles is one of the great military heroes of the 18th century, and people thought of him that way in contemporary terms. For goodness sake, you get Voltaire to write a military history of your campaigns, you've done pretty well.
Yeah.
It's interesting it went so tight, though. I think he's I don't know if you have the saying over your side of the world, he's a bit of a Marmite character. You either love him or hate him. Maybe it's the hate vote that gave Luxembourg a boost.
Our next one, it's the Battle of the Greats. We've got Peter and Frederick. And this one was again not a close run. Frederick the Great.
Oh shoot. Okay.
With 85% of the vote. So going to Frederick. Yep.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
All right. Well, fair. One could make a very important argument that Peter was reshaped the entire Russian state in a way that Frederick really doesn't reshape the entire Prussian army and state. He kind of leaves many of his father's, not all, but many of his father's institutions in place. Whereas what James Craycraft would say, there's a Petrine revolution in Russia. But yeah, I can't say I'm terribly shocked.
All right, our next one, we have von Braun versus Prince Henry of Prussia. And this one is a bit closer. We have
Okay, yeah, and a historical grudge match.
yes.
They faced each other on the battlefield several times.
So the winner with 58% of the vote is von Braun.
Wow. Well, take that, Prince Henry's fanboys. In all seriousness, I think it is quite a shame. Prince Henry, not a horrible commander, and manages to survive the battle that Brown is killed in Prague in May 1757. You can't keep a good ex-Irishman down, is I guess.
There you go. And we are aware there's a strong Irish vote in the. Judging by the Twitter comments, anyway.
Yes.
So when von Braun beats Frederick, we'll confirm that.
There it is. Yep.
Yeah. Okay.
All right. Our next matchup is the Duke of Marlborough versus Charles Cornwallis.
Oh no!
Bye, Charlie.
You're right. With 81% of the vote, the Duke of Marlborough absolutely smokes him. Takes the cake.
We actually have people who think that Cornwallis was a better general than Marlborough. I mean, I know I talked him up. I clearly did too much of a good job if I talked him up that much.
Where do these people live? Are they on the internet somewhere?
Who knows? Yeah, 18% of our voters think that he's a stronger candidate.
Maybe they really, those people have done an incredibly deep dive into Cornwallis's impact in South Asia after the Revolutionary War. And
maybe that's what it is.
That has led them to conclude that he is more important than Marlborough.
Our next matchup is Rumyantsev. Did I say that right?
Rumyantsev, yeah.
Rumyantsev versus Ferdinand of Brunswick.
I feel like Rumyantsev might be in some trouble.
So the winner, with 68% of the vote, is Ferdinand of Brunswick.
Yeah, that's how it should be. Wait, does that mean we've got a John Churchill, Duke of Marlborough, and Ferdinand of Brunswick matchup next? Is that the next?
The potential. So Ferdinand of Brunswick. Well, so Marlborough and von Braun have to duke it out first.
Oh, okay, all right, very good.
But they could meet. They could meet later on.
Okay.
Our last matchup is Ernst von Loudon versus Maurice de Saxe.
Oh no, poor Loudon. Okay.
And the winner with 93% of the vote is Maurice de Saxe.
Yeah.
Well,
we spared the gout curse for another round at least.
Yes, at least one more round.
Right. You've yeah. So, can I share my two favorite anecdotes of these commanders? In the later stages of some of the War of Washington Secession, obviously, I think we've already mentioned on this podcast. I mean, poor de Saxe has to be. He's sort of directing some of the battles from a carriage because he's under the weather. So compare that to my favorite image of Ernst Gideon von Loudon is he advances to the attack at the Battle of Liegnitz in 1760, and it's like a pincer movement. He's leading one section of the army. The entire rest of the Austrian army is supposed to come up and attack the Prussians from behind. They don't, and so as a result, his corps is basically like attacking frontally uphill against prepared Prussian positions, and they get absolutely smacked. His response to this is to jump off the horse and throw a temper tantrum, like not pounding his hands on the ground in front of his commanding general, who is von Daun in this case. And so you have a man who's been debilitated by diseases of a certain nature, and a man who is throwing temper tantrums from his general square. Just absolutely fitting outcome.
Well, I'm glad that worked out the way it did. Good grief. All right. So I'm going to share my screen so you guys can see our matchups. So those were the results of our round 2. So now we're moving on to round 3. We've got some interesting matchups. Our 32 commanders have been whittled down to 8. We have Hyder Ali versus the Eugene of Savoy, Charles XII of Sweden versus Frederick the Great, Maximilian von Braun versus John Churchill, Ferdinand of Brunswick versus Maurice de Saxe. Some interesting matchups there. What do y'all think?
I'm starting to think at this point Hyder Ali might take the whole thing, but I guess for me the most interesting will come down to Charles XII and Frederick II or Frederick the Great. This is an essay question I give my students every time I teach the Revolutionary War, because both of these men are very inspirational from Washington. Which was the superior commander? Define success. Write a 3,000 word essay. And it is. I will say I'm surprised how frequently students do pick Charles XII, despite the fact that he gets shot in the head and his empire collapses. You can't keep a really inspirational young man down, I guess. Is the answer there? We'll see if the voters will agree with my students' assessment. Who knows?
What's usually their reasoning? Or do they not give very good reasoning?
Well, I mean, they are so inspired by the fact that he took the throne at the age of 15 and was embroiled in like a 3-front war by the time he was 18, where essentially he's sort of facing down all of these European powers, the Danes and the Polish-Lithuanian Commonwealth and Russia are kind of all ganging up on Sweden, and so he's leading them. He goes to attack Denmark in the very beginning of the war. He's like an 18-year-old kid, and it's almost like an 18th century D-Day type scenario where they're in the longboats, kind of rowing to shore, and the Danes are sort of firing out at them, and he hears the shot sort of whistling past the longboat that they're in, and he's like an 18-year-old kid. He's never been fired at before, so he's like, "What's that noise?" And his general's like, "They're shooting at us, Your Majesty." And so, but he, I think, gives a lot of, at least the character he tries to project. In his answer, he says, henceforth this shall be my music. And they sort of get on the beach and immediately knock Denmark out of the war, and goes on to defeat Russia against incredible odds, the Battle of Narva. So yeah, I think for my students, it's a question of how inspired they are by Charles XII versus the fact that Frederick II actually survived and took territory and secured his dynasty and secured Prussia's role in the great powers. I mean, do you admire success or do you admire inspiration? I mean, these are these sort of things that kind of are driving them.
It's a rock star glamour, isn't it? Live fast, die young. If Frederick had copped a stray ball at the end of Luyten, he'd be absolute pantheon. But
yeah, exactly right. Exactly.
Okay. So only one of them is going to get an HBO series.
Say again.
Only one of them will get an HBO series.
And who will that be, Lee?
I think that'd be Charles for sure.
Ooh, okay, all right. Well,
live fast, die young.
Live fast.
Here for a good time, not a long time, right?
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, I would not say no to a HBO series covering the Great Northern War. I mean, I just imagine the sections about August the Strong. It would just be quite something.
There you go. So we'll be starting a letter writing campaign.
Oh, great. Okay.
Everybody.
Good.
Yep. HBO@gmail.com, right?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Well, Andrew, are you still firmly in the de Saxe camp? Even in the face of a really great guy like Ferdinand of Brunswick?
Yeah, I mean, all right. I'm biased. I'm fond of old Maurice, and it was Dropsy, not the Pox, no matter what you've read. But no, I think for breadth of career and for his contribution to the sort of military thought as well as military deed, I think the Saxe has to go there. But it's a tighter one. I think. Well, I tipped Marlborough as the winner, so obviously I'm going to say Marlborough against Van Brown. And Eugene is the one that I could see going either way, depending on.
Perhaps unsurprisingly, we're getting down to a Final Four that will have some absolutely incredible names in there. It'll be tough for them to pick, I think.
Oh yeah, I mean from the final eight, anybody who goes out of the final eight, they're good. They're just not quite as good as the guy they're going out to. But yes, absolutely. Best of the best now.
What do you think, Lee? Do you have a favorite matchup in the four that we have remaining?
I think the Charles and Frederick matchup sounds really interesting. But I have to agree. I'm curious to see how far Hyder Ali will go. I think it's interesting that he's gotten this far. I'm glad, and I think he's worthy of getting this far. I'm glad to see that it looks like our listeners are truly, considering the options along some of the criteria that we talked about, and not just picking the familiar names. I think that was made very clear in round one when, some of the big favorites got eliminated, and probably rightfully so. Like I think we said in the last episode, but
yeah, for all of our irate American listeners, I mean, just consider Eugene is the man who knocked out the guy who knocked out George Washington. So keep that in mind.
Yeah, it's an interesting matchup. So what everybody can do now is round 3. We've opened that up for everybody to vote. So you can use the link in this episode's description to go ahead and click, cast your votes. And as always, if you think somebody would enjoy this, you have a friend who'd be into this, who thinks a whole lot of Charles XII or of Eugene of Savoy or of Maurice de Saxe, send this episode to them, send them the link so that they can vote as well. So we can get to our top 4 and ultimately decide who the top commander of the 18th century is.
That's it for this episode of Prime and Load. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did. Don't forget to sign up for our free newsletter with the link in the description. It's the best way to stay up to date with the show, see what's coming up next, and ask us questions. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. This episode was hosted by Drs. Alexander Burns and Andrew Bamford. It was produced by Lee Gugino. Music by Brianna Tam, Ardi Son, and Adrian Beringer. Prime and Load is a Historic Studios podcast.